Okay, picture this. The police have a suspect. They've just entered their home, and it's not what you'd think. It's a digital minefield. There are laptops, phones, smart speakers, even gaming consoles, and every single one could be holding the key to the case. What that first officer does, right then and there, in those first few hours, well, that can literally make or break the entire investigation. So, how do they do it?
You know, these days, digital evidence is every bit as important as fingerprints or DNA. But here's the catch. It's way more fragile. I mean, one wrong click, a sudden power outage, or a remote wipe command from halfway across the world, and poof, it's all gone. You just can't handle a hard drive the same way you handle a smoking gun.
And that really gets to the heart of what we're talking about today. When the most important clues are totally invisible, just ones and zeros flying around, how on earth do you collect them? How do you make sure that evidence is preserved and protected so it can actually hold up in court? Well, let's walk through it. So first things first, investigators have to get their heads around the sheer size of a modern digital crime scene. We're not just talking about a dusty desktop computer in the corner anymore. Potential evidence is literally everywhere. I mean, just think about your own phone for a second. It's got your texts, your call logs, your photos, not to mention a map of everywhere you've been. For an investigator, that phone isn't just a phone. It's a minute-by-minute diary of a person's life. And it doesn't stop with phones. We are surrounded by things that are constantly recording us. Your digital camera, your car's GPS, that dash cam you have, each one is like a silent little witness just logging data. And then there are the devices you probably don't even think about. Your smart speaker that might be recording voice commands, or those security cameras connected to your Wi-Fi. Basically, if it's connected to the internet, it could be evidence. Okay, so you're the first responder. You're standing in a room full of electronics. What is the very first, most critical decision you have to make? It all boils down to one simple question. Is it on or is it off? The golden rule, and this comes straight from Interpol, is actually pretty simple. If a device is on, you leave it on. Why? Because you're trying to save what's called volatile data. Think of it as the device's short-term memory. It's the stuff that vanishes forever the second you pull the plug. On the flip side, if the device is off, you leave it off. Firing it up could change all sorts of important data, like timestamps, and boom, your evidence is compromised. This whole idea is called the order of volatility. And right at the top of that list, the most fragile stuff is the data in the computer's memory. It's RAM. It's like a conversation that's happening right now. The second the power goes out, that conversation is over, gone for good. And that memory could be holding everything: encryption keys, open chat windows, passwords, all gone in a flash. So, once that crucial on or off decision is made, the next phase kicks in. And this is where things get really, really meticulous. It's time to document every single piece of evidence. This is way more than just putting stuff in a bag. It's about building a chain of custody that nobody can break. Every little detail has to be recorded. What kind of device is it? What's the brand, the model, and, this is a big one, the serial number. They have to note its physical condition, exactly where they found it, what cables were plugged into it, and, if they're lucky, any passwords the suspect gives them. All of this makes sure that the device that shows up in court is the exact same one from the crime scene. So what happens if that documentation isn't perfect? Well, this quote from a proficiency test for forensic labs says it all. Without those unique details, you literally can't prove that a lab report is even talking about the right piece of evidence. The whole chain just falls apart. And here's the crazy part. This isn't some rare mistake. In a test meant for professionals, almost 20% of the labs failed to do this one basic thing. This isn't just a typo on a form. It's a huge opening for a defense lawyer to argue that the evidence was mixed up or tampered with. It creates doubt, and that can get critical evidence thrown right out of court. All right, so the outside of the device is documented. Now what about the data inside? How do you prove that it hasn't been touched? This is where something called a digital fingerprint comes into play. This fingerprint is made using a process called cryptographic hashing. The easiest way to think about it is like this. You run all the data on a drive through a super complex math problem, and it spits out one unique code. If you change anything, I mean anything, even a single letter in a single file, that entire code changes completely. It is the ultimate tamper-proof seal. And here's why that's so important. Investigators almost never work on the original device. They make a perfect bit-for-bit copy. So they calculate the hash, that digital fingerprint of the original evidence, then they calculate the hash of their copy. If those two fingerprints are identical, they've just proven, mathematically, that their copy is a perfect, untouched replica. And you guessed it, skipping this step has huge consequences. That same forensic report found that 6 out of 16 labs, that's more than a third, failed to even record the hash values. Without that digital fingerprint, nobody down the line can ever truly confirm that the evidence they're looking at is the same stuff found at the crime scene. It just completely undermines the whole process. So, the evidence has been documented, its integrity has been verified, the first responder's job is almost done. Let's take a step back and see how this all fits into the bigger picture. This flowchart shows you the whole journey from start to finish. And that work the first responder does, finding it, preserving it, collecting it, that is the absolute foundation of everything that follows. If that foundation is shaky, the whole case is at risk of collapsing. The lab analysis, the reports, the testimony in court, it all rests on that first step being done right. At the end of the day, the goal for that first responder in those critical opening hours is really simple: preservation and integrity. Their job is to create a perfect little digital time capsule. They capture the evidence exactly as it was, and then they deliver a verified, untainted copy to the lab experts who can then do their deep dive analysis. But let me leave you with this one last thought. Even if the evidence is collected perfectly, the job is far from over. That same report that found all those documentation errors, it also found huge mistakes in interpretation. Labs were claiming a suspect did things they couldn't prove. In one crazy example, they mistook a line of computer code for something a user actually typed into Google. So the data might be secure, but what happens when the digital clues themselves start to lie?